After a rough start to the week, the Cardinals get a dominant combo pitching performance to silence the Cubs and win the series at Busch. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafron, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your first purchase. On today's show, we're going to recap the weekend that was at Busch Stadium with the Cubbies in town, plus what we've learned from this 11-game stretch against division opponents. But let's start with the big win on Sunday night and a series win over the Cubs, which is why we've got the ugly shirt. It is activated. Ugly shirt activated. You can also see in the background, I've got that dog in me. Home run chain has now been added to the background of our Locked On Cardinals studios here. So we are set to go, man. And what a good time this was this weekend. And similar to how the Cubs won on Saturday, the Cardinals, they got a dominant pitching performance from two guys. Starter Matthew Liberatore and starter who came in as a reliever, Hunter Dobbins, who had just been called up to the team on Sunday, with the Cardinals designating reliever Matt Pushard for assignment in the corresponding move. We're going to talk more about that here in a little bit, but let's focus on Libby. And the story with Libby this year has been the one bad inning. More times than not, he pitches pretty well for, 4 innings. Usually in the fourth or the fifth inning, things seem to go sideways. Sometimes it's earlier in the game than that, but there's always like that one inning that the opponent is knocking him around like a piñata, and it usually coincides with the lineup getting to see him for the third time in a game. After a rocky start to the first inning in this one, where he gave up back-to-back singles to Horner and PCA to start the game, it was all Libby after that. Like, he was insanely good. Huge momentum swing to get out of that first inning unscathed. Struck out Bregman, got Suzuki to pop out, punches out Ian Happ. A couple of Cardinal killers there in Happ and Bregman. And from there on out, like, the Cubs did nothing really against him. They managed just 2 more base runners. They had a walk to Dansby Swanson that led off the third inning, which was kind of like, why do we keep walking the number 9 hitter? But then a harmless single by Kevin Alcantara in the 5th inning. And that was it, man. Libby locked them down. And it was awesome to see because you kept waiting for that bad inning to happen. He had a fastball averaging 95.5 and a curveball, which was falling off the table good, sat at 80.5. And according to Daniel Guerrero at STLtoday.com, both were actually increases of 1.4 miles per hour or higher than average this season. So that's good, man. He looked strong. He looked confident. And why wouldn't he be? After a career-high 10 strikeout performance in Milwaukee, where he went toe-to-toe with Jacob Misiorowski, the most dominant pitcher in the league right now. And yeah, the Brewers got to him early. If you remember, it was the first inning that was his problem against Milwaukee, but he settled in nicely after that, and he carried that momentum over into Sunday night's game against Chicago, where he retired 16 of the final 18 Cubs that he faced. Now, the strikeout numbers weren't the same. We weren't seeing 10 strikeouts by any means, only 4 in this one, but so what? So what? It's great to have swing and miss, but I really don't care how you get them out. Just get them out. Things change from team to team. I mean, who thought Libby would have 10 strikeouts against the Brewers? They don't strike out hardly at all. And somehow he pulls off 10. And here against the Cubs, he only gets 4, but had him off stride, off balance the whole night. That curveball, again, was awesome. Like, I would love for him to use that more. As long as it looks like it did on Sunday night, by all means, use it more. For the month of May, Libby finishes 3-2 with a 3.98 ERA in 6 starts, 38 strikeouts and 31 2/3 innings. Opponents hit 283 against him. Clearly, there is room for improvement. I'm not saying there's not. Those big innings against him, they keep popping up. It reminds me a lot of Miles Michaelis, to be honest. When Miles was here, you would see him, be cruising for like 3 innings. You're like, all right. We got the good Miles Michaelis today. Spoke too soon. Bang, 2 home runs. And then all of a sudden it's 5-0 and the game is sunk. But if Libby can avoid those big innings, and he's not going to be able to not give up runs, but instead of giving up 4 and 5 runs, 1 or 2 instead, that's going to make a huge difference. So if he can avoid those, I'm not saying he's the ace number one guy that many thought he might be at some point because he got taken in the first round, but he is certainly someone that belongs in your rotation moving forward beyond 2026. And that's kind of the chatter I kept seeing online was like, well, he's not good enough. He doesn't belong in our rotation. You got to get him out of here. You got to find better ones. Well, that would be nice to find better ones. But if you're thinking about Libby as like a 3, 4, 5 guy in your rotation, I think you could do much worse than him. And Ollie didn't try to see if Libby could push through that 6th inning, which was great. Now he hit that 85 pitch mark. So I don't know if that was always the plan, like 85 pitches, and then we're going to move on from you. I'm not sure if that's the plan or not. But as soon as he got PCA to lead off the inning, out with Libby, in with Hunter Dobbins. And I feel like normally when you start an inning and your starter gets the first guy, you kind of are like, all right, I want to see what maybe he can push through this inning. Well, Ollie did not even tinker with that whatsoever. He went and got the fresh arm in Hunter Dobbins, who was scheduled to pitch on Sunday night for Memphis before getting called up. So first batter he sees, Bregman hits a solo home run, which was like, oh, here we go. But it was 5-0 at that point, and I'm sure the nerves of pitching at Busch Stadium for the first time, coming in as the reliever, that might have had something to do with it. You know, he's probably amped up, missed his spot. Also, Alex Bregman is really good. He's really freaking good. Okay. So despite what his numbers are so far this year, that's a guy that, makes a lot of money for a reason. And to give up a home run to him, there's no shame in that. But after that, Hunter Dobbins was outstanding too. He finishes off the final 3 2/3 innings, allows 4 hits in total, does not walk anybody, which is huge. 4 Ks, picks up his first professional save, and seals the win for the Cardinals. One of the keys to beating the Cubs will always be slowing down PCA and Ian Happ. At least I would assume that's for all the teams, but for the Cardinals, it feels like those are the 2 guys that really are a pain in the arse. So you saw what they could do in games 1 and 2. And in game 3, PCA had nothing after the single in the first inning. Ian Happ was 0 for 4. According to Rob Raines at STLSportspage.com, this was only the second time in 23 games at Busch Stadium since the start of the 2023 season that the Cardinals held Ian Happ hitless in 4 at-bats and also kept him from drawing a walk. So he wasn't on base at all, which is rare. The only other time that happened during that stretch was on June 23rd last season. So bravo to Libby and Dobbins. Came in, did their job. They came, they saw, they whooped that butt. Now we got to talk about the offense and how a couple of the worst hit balls you will ever see in a game ended up being huge pieces to the victory for your St. Louis Cardinals. We'll get into it next on Locked On Cardinals. There's nothing like watching a Cardinals game at Busch Stadium, especially now that the team is playing better, the crowds are getting bigger, tarps off energy. It is absolutely real. The only problem is getting tickets can feel like a grind. Long queue, surprise fees, prices jump up at checkout. Nobody wants that nonsense, and that's why there's Game Time. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation so you can unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. I just did it on Saturday night. We are in the party suite. We're meeting Chaim Bloom, your president of baseball operations, but I brought my mom to this event because she is a huge Cardinals fan and is the reason I became such a big baseball fan, her and my dad. But took my mom kind of as a Mother's Day gift, and we're in this party suite, and we're looking out at the crowd, and I'm like, we got to get down there closer. We got to get amongst the people, man. And we wanted to be in the tarps off area section. We wanted to be right by that. So right before the national anthem, I pull out the Game Time app. I found tickets in the 3rd row next to the bullpen in right field, 3 times cheaper than most of the other tickets on that level at Busch Stadium that night. Those were all going in like $200, $300. I found them for 3 times cheaper than that. Couple clicks, bang, we're sitting 3rd row. The Game Time guarantee means you're going to get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. The fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay, period. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code LOCKED ON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. You'll thank me for it later. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen of the day. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Get your daily Cardinals coverage completely ad-free by joining our Everydayer Club if you haven't already. Start your 7-day free trial right now. Get closer to your team without those interruptions. Just click the link in the show notes, or you can go to lockedonstlcardinals.supercast.com to claim your free trial. So the Cardinals offense has been, all right, to put it lightly, frosty lately. Now, they have faced a lot of tough pitchers. I have pointed this out in previous episodes, but at the same time, it's your job as an offense to find ways to score. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You can't use the excuse that, well, we ran into like 9 straight aces. Whatever. I mean, those guys, they're human too. You can beat them. And on Sunday, the boys got busy early against the Cubs, which was awesome. Starter Jordan Wicks, left-hander, 3 straight singles by J.J. Weatherholt, Ivan Herrera, and Jordan Walker. Clearly, the idea was to go the other way with the ball. And all 3 hits, opposite field hits to start the game, which you love to see, especially by Jordan Walker. You know, JJ, we've seen already in his short stint already in the major leagues that he's got the ability to go opposite field. And when he's doing that, it's when JJ's really seeing the ball well. So it's good to see that. Ivan Herrera, we know we can take it to all fields. But Jordan Walker is the guy that, you know, for the first few years of his career, had really a lot of trouble taking pitches to the opposite field. He's trying to pull everything. He's pulling off things. And this year, he's been a totally different animal. And they throw him away. He's like, I'll take it that way. I got no problems with that whatsoever. And Jordan Walker's single immediately gives them the lead, which they would never relinquish in this game. And one of the key at-bats was actually by Alec Burleson. There was a couple of them by Alec Burleson, but the one in there in the first inning, after Nelson Velasquez grounded into a fielder's choice. Props to Nelly for hustling down the line to eliminate the double play, because if he had been loafing, they would have turned it on him, but he didn't, so it made it 1st and 3rd and 1 out, and Burley gets jammed about as bad as you can get, and somehow muscles the ball over the pitcher's head and into that no man's land Bermuda Triangle area behind the mound. It took a really good play by Bregman, the Gold Glover, over at third base, to get Burley at first. It was a bang-bang play, but because he just kind of chipped it over the pitcher's head, run scores, makes it 2-0. That was obviously very important to get that run in from third. Exit velo on this out, 37.6 miles per hour. Like, you could probably spit a loogie harder than that. But it worked. You know how the Cardinals always seem to get a bunch of weak contact against them that go for base hits and bring in runs, and, you know, we get really annoyed by that. Well, there you go. A little bit of payback there for Burleson there in the first inning. Burley would get another not-so-typical hit in the third inning as well. J.J. Weatherholt, the table setter, singles to start the inning, followed by an Ivan Herrera single that ate up Swanson at shortstop. But Jordan Walker has a rare at-bat where he whiffs at pitches away. You know, he was pulling off on that one, and I'm sure he's like, it's the stuff I used to do last year. So, but he goes down swinging. Velasquez hits an absolute seed down the line, but goes right at Bregman at third base. So now we got 2 on, 2 out. Burley's up. And once again, he hits this sand wedge sinker off his shoe tops. Pops it straight into the air. This one's exit velo 77 miles per hour, so a little bit harder, but into no man's land this time. It lands behind the third baseman, Bregman, and Happ in left field. He can't get to it. Cubs can't reach it. 3-0 Cardinals. Another run gets in there. Hit them where they ain't. Hit them where they ain't. That's the name of the game. Great base running all around as Herrera gets to third. Burley goes all the way to second base, again, on this little sand wedge chipper over the third baseman's head. So you get back-to-back batted balls by Burley that in no way, shape, or form would be described as, oh, he struck that well, or, oh, that's a dangerous hit right there. Not, you know, the guy's got a family to think about. No. But they work. They bring in 2 runs, put the ball in play. Then the big hit by Masyn Winn, who ropes that 2-run single to make it 5-0. He's pumped up, and that's all the Cardinals would need in this one. And it all started with Nico Horner being unable to make the play on JJ single. Probably going to be safe at first anyway. which is why he got a single on that, but he wasn't able to make a play. Swanson can't make a play on Herrera's line drive. And the good teams take advantage of stuff like that, just like the Cubs did to the Cardinals' sloppy play on Saturday. When the Cardinals couldn't execute and were throwing the ball around and just couldn't get anything done, Cubs took advantage. Well, Cardinals turned that around and did the same thing back to Chicago on Sunday, and it led to what ended up being a pretty easy win when you look at it. 5-1 ball game is the final here, and the only real threat was, Bregman's solo home run off Dobbins. Speaking of Dobbins, to get him up on the big league roster, and he may very well get sent right back down. I haven't seen any transactions just yet here on Monday morning, but that anything else has been changed yet transaction wise, but he might get sent down right away anyway. It might have just been an up and back down to Memphis thing, but they designated Matt Pushard for assignment. Pushard, the Rule 5 pick from the Miami Marlins, if you remember, unfortunately got hurt. And with the 40-man number crunch happening, he was the guy who got the pink slip and will not have to go through waivers. And if he clears, he has to be offered back to the Marlins, who can say no if they don't want him. And I don't think this is a case of the Cardinals don't like Pushard. It's just a numbers game. There's guys that can do similar things that he can, and they needed the roster spot. He spent a month and a half on the IL, which was unfortunate with that right knee patellar tendonitis. Since getting activated on May 16th, 5 more appearances, allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings with 6 strikeouts, but 4 walks. Opening up that spot on the 40-man roster is also going to make reinstating Lars Nootbaar easier as he gets closer to rejoining the team. Who goes down after he comes back up is for debate. Torres has filled in amicably, but outside of that first game, there hasn't been a whole lot there. So JC was sent down, but brought right back up after Church got hurt. How long is the leash for Nelson Velasquez? Should Victor Scott go down when Church comes back? When you have everybody healthy, what's it going to look like then? We shall see. I have a tough time believing they're going to send Victor Scott down. I really don't think that's something they'll do, but I don't know. We'll see. I was shocked when Nelson Velasquez got the call up. So let me know in the comments what they think they should do when Newt and Church are healthy again. What do you guys think the outfield should look like? What should the bench look like? And we can discuss that in an upcoming episode. I was at the ballpark on Saturday, as I mentioned, and I want to talk about my experience there. Plus, we'll take a look at the NL Central. What have we learned from this 11-game stretch against the division, which didn't go quite the way that the Cardinals had hoped it would, but at the same time, nothing got torpedoed by any means either. So we'll discuss all of this coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals first listen of the day. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. I want to thank the Cardinals and Primitive Baseball Operations Time Bloom for hosting the bloggers and podcasters event at the ballpark on Saturday. They had us up in one of the party suites there in right field. Got a chance to chat with Chaim Bloom, meet him for the first time face-to-face for about an hour. And, he was great, man. Normal, gracious self that you've seen on camera or in interviews on the radio. He answered questions. Again, he was up there for about an hour. He was up there with us after first pitch. You would think, all right, I got to get going, boys. We're burning daylight here. I gotta get back to work. But no, he hung around and stuck around and said hi to everybody, took pictures with people, talked some ball. But most importantly, he continued to be that guy that you see in every interview and hear in every interview that he gives. He's very open, very honest, very transparent about the future of this team. And that's what he wanted to, make sure that was coming across, that look, just because things are going well right now, we know that there's a chance we could lose 10 in a row. He's like, this game can humble you really quick. And we just want to keep doing the things that we think are right to improve this organization, improve this ball club. And yeah, we're having a good time right now. And it's fantastic to see people growing the way they are and doing what they're doing. But the nothing has changed. The long-term goals will trump the short-term stuff but they're here to win. They're not here to concede anything. And with the team showing as much improvement as they have, people are speculating what they may or may not do at the trade deadline. Heim was asked that, and he's like, well, it's hard to say because here we are. Obviously we're already thinking ahead about stuff, but, it's hard to say exactly what we will be up for, considering that we're still, 2 months until the trade deadline. So, moving people, adding people. I can tell you this, though, in my opinion, this isn't a team that I believe that they're going to go all in on. Like, even if they're a game out or something, they're not. Okay, so they could move like a Lars Nootbaar or a Dustin May or a JoJo Romero. They could, for sure, if the price is right and it's going to help them with their long-term goals. Why not? But I don't think they're going to trade from the prospect pool that they've acquired to go get any rentals to push this team, or hopefully push this team up to another level. I just don't see that. And until this labor stuff is handled next year, I wouldn't expect any significant financial additions either. So there's ways to addition by subtraction, is the term, where you can ship another veteran, bring in some younger arms, and maybe those younger arms or younger players can help right away and at least do something for this team this year. But the group that they've got, that they're already kind of massaging and working with right now, that's going to be the group that they keep rolling with. I can almost guarantee you that. Any move that they make is going to be, in my opinion, is probably going to be a minor move. But again, Lars, Dustin May, JoJo Romero, guys that are going to be free agents sooner rather than later, who are making more money. If the price is right and there's like playoff teams that want to fork over crazy prospects to get these guys, I don't think that they're going to stop from making those moves just because the Cardinals are in contention for a wild card spot. So that's just my opinion on it. Heim did not say that by any means, but it's just the vibe I get. And I don't think that we have a problem with that because we know the long-term goal is what it is. It's to make something that is sustainable for years and years to come. It's not one here and then we start over again and then we have 2 bad years and then we have another year. And they don't want that. But you got to be pleased about what this team's accomplished through the first 57 games of the season. They're 31-26, which is much better than anyone imagined. 4.5 back of the Brewers, who continue to be the class of the division, and that doesn't appear to be ending anytime soon. This 11-game stretch that the Cardinals just had against only divisional opponents, they went 4-7. Losing a series against the Pirates, Brewers sweep them. They go 1-5 against those teams. They split the Red Series and the rain-shortened Red Series. We only got 2 games in. But then you win 2 of 3 against the Cubs, who were coming off a 10-game losing streak, clearly not playing their best ball all around, but they won a couple against the Pirates before coming to St. Louis. So they take 2 of 3. So that makes you feel a little bit better about things. But obviously, there's work to be done. The offense was clearly a major issue with why they went 4-7 in those 11 games. They finished the month of May at 13-13. They've got a -10 run differential overall on the season. They're 15-14 at home. They're 16-12 on the road. 19-17 against teams who are 500 or better, which you like to see. They're also 11-5 in one-run games and 7-2 in extra innings games. How is that sustainable? Expected to win-loss record 27-30 according to MLB.com. So they're out. The record is better than what it should be according to their stats and analytics and such. But I'll tell you this, the vibes at Busch Stadium aren't that of a team that is rebuilding. Like, that was awesome. And the Cardinals are rebuilding. Don't get me wrong. They are rebuilding. But the atmosphere this weekend was amazing. Sitting in right field in front of the Tarps Off crew, so much fun. Tons. And I mean tons of Cubs fans, obviously around for this series, which is normal. But I want to give them credit because the people, at least that we were around, nothing ever got malicious. Nobody was fighting. There was no, F you and screw you and all that. It wasn't like that. It was your normal rivalry banter. I'm sitting there with my mom who's super uncomfortable when people start yelling and screaming. She's like, do we have to sit around all these Cubs fans? And I'm like, well, kind of. They bought seats too. But it was awesome to see everybody having a good time, but a respectable good time around kids and families and stuff. Sure, when things were going good for the Cubs, they were rowdy and they were yelling, but that's how Cardinals fans are when things are going good for the Cardinals. So it was great. And I was in right field when PCA hit that bomb and went right over my head. Popped it into the tarps off crew, which was absolutely perfect for a rivalry game. I didn't want it to happen, but it was perfect. They were riding his butt all game long. Overrated chance every time he came to the plate, and then he had this huge night and capped it off with that home run right to them, which just makes him even more, the villain number one among Cardinals fans right now. The guy who threw the ball back behind us, at least he tried to, one of the worst throws. Did he throw it with his wrong arm? I don't know is he not lefty or right here, whatever he threw it, because that was awful. But anyway, it landed right next to me and went right next to the Cubs fan that was in the front row. And the Cubs fan got it and he held it up and he said, thank you. And then proceeded to give it to a young female fan sitting behind him, like 2 rows back, same row I was in. And I don't know, the girl had to be 5 or 6 years old or something, was there with her mom. And the whole section, Cards and Cubs fans, standing ovation for the guy. He was like, yeah, I'm, cool, man. But it was great. It was awesome. There was razzing. There was smack talking. There was singing. There was swaying. Just good-natured fun. Would have been more fun for us if the Cardinals had any sort of offense in that game. But it was cool to see Busch Stadium alive again. 40,000 plus, enjoying our national pastime. I gave my last beer of the night to a Cubs fan. We took some beers from the suite. We had them down there, me and my mom. And we're like, all right, we're going to head out. And it was the 9th inning. And I was like, here you guys go. Said, congratulations on the win. I promise we didn't spit in this. And they were super appreciative. They're like, thanks, guys. Drive safely. And they celebrated accordingly. It was great, though. It was an awesome night. It was an awesome series. And I'm glad the newer guys like, JJ and Torres and Velasquez, Crooks, even Jordan Walker and Victor Scott, who have been here when things haven't been so good, when Busch Stadium looked like an abandoned mall. Finally, they get to feel what it's like to be appreciated and rooted for, what this fan base can be and has been like normally outside of opening day, which is always, a holiday type of atmosphere. But normally this is what it's like, what it was like this weekend at Busch Stadium. That's what it's usually like. And I'm glad that the people are recognizing that this team is better than where they've been in the past, that they've got young talent. They've got a future, a very bright future. This team plays hard, and it really felt like baseball heaven once again. And I hope that it continues and that this team continues to thrive off of the energy at Busch, gives the fans reasons to keep coming back. Texas Rangers are in town next, currently sitting in 3rd place in the AL West at 28-31. They have won 3 in a row, though, after sweeping the Royals, who have – what? The Royals, man. 22-37. Whoo! Not at all what they were expecting. Feel free to send, I don't know, like a Matt Strom over if you guys would like to. We could use another lefty in the bullpen. Jack Peterson for the Rangers. Yeah, he's still playing. Been on a heater lately. 5 dingers in his last 7 days. Their third baseman, Josh Young, is hitting .417 over that stretch as well. Leads the American League in batting average. Ezekiel Duran, who he's kind of a utility guy, plays all over the place, but he's been on fire lately. Jake Berger has had a nice season too. Like, these aren't your normal names. Corey Seager's been out again. Wyatt Langford is out. They designated Andrew McCutchen for assignment. So a lot of their big names are no longer there or are hurt. And we should be able to take advantage of that. Their pitching is still pretty darn good. The Cardinals are scheduled to face the best ones they got too. Jacob deGrom is healthy. He's starting tonight against Michael McGreevy. deGrom is now 37 years old, but he's still Jacob deGrom. He's still a multi-Cy Young Award winner. ERA was close to 6 in the month of May, so hopefully it stays that way, and the Cardinals will be able to knock him around a little bit, but still has elite velo, elite strikeout stuff, so be wary of that. Nathan Eovaldi, still very, very good, set to go up against Dustin May on Tuesday, and then Mackenzie Gore, who they got from the Nationals in that big offseason trade, will go up against Andre Palante on Wednesday. So might be a low-scoring affair over the next 3 days, so the offense is going to have to figure out a way to get some runs across, similar to how they did it on Friday and on Sunday against Chicago. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals, TikTok, Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. If you never miss an episode, the Everyday Air Club is built for you. Get Locked On Cardinals ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to LockedOnSTLCardinals.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we will send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure your second listen is Locked On MLB. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. We will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.